Welcome to Beyond the Diet. This is your space to transform your relationship with weight, food, and the changes that come with each stage of your life. So you move through womanhood, embodying your feminine strength and radiance. Led by me, Audrie.
And me, Kristina. We are your weight, wellness, and women's health guides and coaches. This channel gives you practical tips, holistic practices, and transformational insights to help you release that stubborn weight naturally and easily.
Improve your digestion and metabolism.
Balance your hormones.
Implement holistic practices for stress relief, energy, women's health, and balance.
And we ultimately help you step into your power as the vibrant, unstoppable woman you were always meant to be.
Join us to learn about listening to your body, eating with awareness, and living in a way that supports your unique stage of womanhood.
Every week you'll find empowering videos on weight loss, women's health, yoga, Ayurveda, and the lifestyle shifts that are designed to help you feel at home in your body again.
This is your invitation to step into womanhood differently. This is Yoga to Transform.
Well, hi, welcome to podcast number 1 with me, Kristina.
And me, Audrie.
And we thought we'd start at the beginning in terms of giving you an introduction to why we decided Ayurveda was the way forward in terms of weight and wellness coaching, not only for ourselves, but for all of the women that we currently help. So shall I kick off with
how we... You did a bit of discovery, didn't you?
I did. Well, it's an interesting introduction to Ayurveda. So being a long-time yogi and a long-time yoga teacher, I'd always known about Ayurveda, and it's always been in the background in terms of discussion topics. And except one day, I just thought, goodness, I need to learn more about Ayurveda. And then I ended up signing up for a course the very next day, and then convincing you to sign up for some weight wellness coaching with an Ayurveda coach not long after that. So it was like I had the thought, and then within days I was in a course and getting some coaching.
Not unusual for you, Kristina.
And we should probably talk about that, though, in terms of why is it not unusual for me to do things like that? Do you want to help the audience explain my nature from an Ayurvedic lens?
So, I mean, that's part of the Ayurveda way of looking at our bodies and our actions and the way we operate in the world and the way the world operates, isn't it? It's those 3 doshas. You might have heard those. So those 3 constitutions. So tell us about you, Kristina.
Well, should we start there, shall we? Well, so like Audrey said, we have 3 constitutions, and when an Ayurveda consultant works with you, they're looking to see what might be your natural constitution, like what you're born with, and then where you might be out of imbalance. And so apparently I have a natural constitution that is a combination of Vata and Pitta. And those 2 constitutions, so Vata is movement and change and creativity, fast thinking, fast moving, hence why within days I'm in a course and getting wellness coaching. And then Pitta is that fiery kind of determination. We can be quite ambitious and intense, but we're the action takers. So again, it's that when the desire for change or creative spontaneity comes in, boom, we take action. We move.
So, and then you might think, well, then, so what's the difference? And then you look at me. So I also have that pitta, that drive, that fieriness, that determination to get things done, being successful in the world, getting plans, bringing into fruition, maybe not quite as fast or as immediate and changeable perhaps as Vata, but that's certainly the Pitta. But then, and you can probably tell from my body shape as well, that my body is a little bit more Kapha, which is the earthiness, the wateriness, and that's a bit more stable. That takes a little bit more oomph to get going. But we also have those great groundedness qualities as well, so that we're grounded, and some of those things can sort of keep you safe and things like that. And you also have a bit more of a sense of being in the one place rather than moving around too much. So, and that's a little bit more like me. Like I love my garden, I love my home, I love being in my serene sanctuary of my place. That's probably a little bit more me. And then together, that makes my personality or my constitution. So there's interesting
Absolutely.
things then. So that sort of tells us how we behave. But then Ayurveda coaching is pretty good because it then looks at where you're out of balance. And what happened for you, Kristina?
I think, well, I don't know. I want to say though, because having Audrie as, a very best friend and business partner, that Kapha, and everyone needs someone with a good dose of Kapha in their lives to really stabilize them, particularly if you've got the Vata-Pitta combo that I have.
But then equally, that's your Vata side is really a great balance to me because you're out there exploring the world and finding new things and coming across new things, which probably gives me an impetus to get going more swiftly than I would in my natural nature. So although I'm fiery, I might not be taking as many steps this way and that way and forward as much as you do. So that's a really good balance for me as well.
Exactly. So always find someone to balance you. And that's one of the key components of, I'm not answering your question, but I will come back to it.
We'll get there in the end.
We will. This is the Vata tendency. Oh, let me just go on a sidetrack, right? We will get to the point, but let's just take a few sidetracks as well. So that now I've completely forgotten the sidetrack. No, is that when to bring people into balance, right? So Audrie's gorgeous, stable and steady and loving and nurturing and calming presence has been the balance that I've needed to be able to become more stable and nurturing myself, right? And Audrie's saying, I have been the balancing agent for her to be more changeable and movable. So that when we're working with the imbalances, what we often do, there's two things that I want to say here, is that if you are imbalanced, right? So if my Vata gets way out of balance, then I am like spiraling. I don't know, I go very fast. I can, I have a whole lot of digestive issues. I have sleep issues and I start overthinking, right? And I just kind of get into that routine of like doing more and more and more and overloading my plate. Because one of the things that I'm not very good at as a Vata is saying no, because we always think that's a great idea and I want to do it.
You might miss out.
Exactly. I can't do that. But the imbalance, when we are out of balance, we get drawn more into the things that keep us out of balance, don't we? So, and so the antidote or the balancing agent is to actually do the opposite, which when your nature is to move fast and be quick, and even if we talk about exercise, right? I used to have to run everywhere. Like to do Shavasana at the end of yoga was, what a waste of time. But it was exactly what I needed to help me become more balanced.
And as you can imagine, so we are talking about, where our constitutions are a little bit more out of balance. And we'll come back to the pitta and the fire and the drive that we both have. But if I was going to, when I've had times when I've been out of balance, my digestion's been sluggish. And have I been firing it up with good spices and drinking more water and lots of exercise? No, that when I get out of balance, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to leave the couch. I don't want to put my walking shoes on and go for a walk. I want to eat salty things and chippy things and, cheesy things and things like that are really quite grounding and stabilizing and solid. So I'm putting myself more and more and more out of balance. So instead, if I want to get more into balance, I have to be thinking about spicing up my food, doing more exercise, taking the opportunities to eat more mindfully and take out some of the grounding food and eat a little bit more, maybe even popcorn or rice cakes or things that give me a little bit more lightness.
Yeah, absolutely. So and just hearing this conversation, like you and I are very similar in certain ways, and then we're also very different. And you can tell that just by looking at us, like in terms of the but even like look at our faces, like there's so there's a height differential. I show my clients like I can put my fingers around my like at how high up my wrist, with ease and get my hand so there's like my bones are much thinner than Audrey's. So there's lots of different ways that we can tell. I think there's about 250 data points that we look at when we do an initial consultation and take someone on a wellness journey. Just to kind of find where the constitution naturally sits and then where we're out of balance.
And that is where our Ayurveda coach came in for us at about 18 months ago, wasn't it?
It was, absolutely, yeah. And shall we talk a little bit about the journey that we had with our coach? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was encouraged to have a wellness coach from Kristina's good idea, and I'm really up for good ideas and fired away with that. But I was quite hesitant about, say, losing weight or anything to do with dieting or anything like that. I'd had a bad experience probably in my 20s, and I suppose in that my Kapha way had completely given up on dieting, had decided I was going to eat healthy, and my weight was my weight, and I didn't want to talk about that. But I did want to talk about aging well, continuing to be strong and healthy as I aged. I wanted to keep gardening. I wanted to have good digestion because from time to time I could be a little bit stuck or I could be a little bit the other way. And yeah, I was interested in it from that point of view, and it was so good.
Yeah, yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, and it's interesting in terms of so if I talk a little bit about what I was interested in, I think there was the part of me that's like, well, I'm learning this art. I'd better get a coach to help me get good at doing this stuff. But also too, so Vata, where my greatest imbalance was, one of the things is variability, right? The irregularity is the consistency. And so I had variable digestion, lots of digestive issues. I've had them since a child, I was a colicky baby, so right back from the beginning of bloating, gas, stomach pain, whether it's constipation or diarrhea and explosive, elimination and everything in between. I don't think I actually, until the Ayurveda wellness coaching, I don't think I'd really probably had very many normal eliminations. But ever since the coaching, and so that was one of the goals, right? Again, weight loss wasn't a goal for me, but one of the goals was fixing up my digestion and just helping me get reduce my stress. So at that point, I was still working in the corporate world and had recognized my tendency to take on too much and needed some help.
So one of the other things that had hit me post-menopause was quite a dryness to my body, especially sexually dry in my vagina. We'll get down and dirty because that is exactly what the problem was. And so there was, I really was looking for a solution that was going to bring that lusciousness, that suppleness to my skin, to, be active with my partner, so that the idea that I needed some support to bring that sort of lusciousness, that oiliness, that suppleness back into my body all over was really important too. And so, some of the procedures that we were offered, similarly oiling your body when you before you shower, or I got quite tied up in the fact that it's quite messy using oil, and it just didn't sit with me very well, and I couldn't get the right amount on my skin. So our coach was great. She just stuck with me. And I suppose this was over 2 or 3 sessions because I was a bit hesitant, I suppose. And in the I know. She said, because it was like too much, too greasy, and anyway, you if you're one of those people, you know what I'm talking about. So I now oil myself in the shower. All right. So it does take a little bit of preparation. You need a towel on the floor or whatever. But anyway, oiling yourself on the body. And
Mm.
also twice a week, I also oil my breasts using castor oil just to help that sensation. And also castor oil is very good at moving things down your body. So
Mm.
I'll leave the rest of it to your imagination. But using the oiling has really changed my skin,
Mm.
it changed the tissue on my breasts as well. I seem to have lost some of the firmness. They're a lot more pliable. And you'll be pleased to know that things have moved down and are working
Juicy.
better, more juicy, more luscious.
Woo, woo, woo. I love that. And it's interesting because we're both moving. Well, you're in the Vata stage of life, so that not only do our bodies have constitutions, but our lifetimes have phases where the constitution changes, and also the year has different constitutions as well as we move through the seasons of the year. So it's
And
there's
the
a lot to
day.
and the day, I know,
So
different times of the day.
that's right. So, it was a perfect opportunity for us to get together with our coach, and she was very kind, which I think is one of the things that
Hmm.
you can get from Ayurveda, because there's no stress. They're not trying to add any stress. We're not trying to add any stress. In fact, stress is a very
It's a
debilitating,
5-letter word.
debilitating thing that we want to get rid of.
And I think that's the thing. And our coach was very good with you in terms of like being patient and kind and trying to find solutions to help you kind of do this abhyanga, which is really important as you get into the Vata stage of life. But also if you are like me, have Vata tendencies. So we both got recommended. I think that was probably the only thing that we had in common with our recommendations was the abhyanga. And I do it every night. I do it before I get into bed. I love it. I love the oil. But again, I have very dry skin previously, and now it's so soft, and I just love, touching my body. But you do get used. It's like, oh, it's so soft. And one of the things that people keep saying to you, Audrie, is that you have de-aged. You actually look much younger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a combination of things. Certainly, reducing the stress, but also providing myself with the things that I actually need. We have this, we
Mm.
have, and I suppose that's a good point to just think about the food. And I have lost some weight. Yay!
Yeah,
Yeah.
without even trying.
Without even trying. Is that once you start giving yourself the things you need, not like
Yeah.
me trying to give myself the things that Kristina needs, because that wouldn't really work. Giving myself the things that I need from my constitution, my time of life,
Mm, mm,
I've been able to reduce my stress. I've been sleeping well. My digestion is much better. A little bit of coaching from us in terms of some of the, understanding calories and how many calories you might need. I found that I was starving myself, that I wasn't eating enough. And
mm,
so when I started eating enough, had my constitution under control, had my elimination patterns working, eating more in relation to how the day goes. So eating more at breakfast and at lunch than late night meals. Maybe even having 2 lunches. Those kind of things have just allowed my body to just come back into its natural balance. And without even trying, I have lost weight, which is the first time probably in 60 minus 20, 40 years possibly. 40, 35,
Woohoo!
35 years that I've been able to lose weight without really thinking about it. Feeling
How good
nourished
is
and full and satisfied, and having a glass of wine if I need to, or want to celebrate, or whatever, that all just fits perfectly into the system. I've been thrilled.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you look amazing, right? And
Thanks.
that's the thing, like you've lost weight and you glow. You glow.
Well,
You're definitely glowing.
and that's the
Mm.
thing, at my age of life, I could possibly have lost weight and got all wrinkly and saggy and things, but I'm still plump in the cheeks. I don't tend to have too much, jowly thing going on just yet. That's another good thing is moving the lymph around in the body.
Mm,
That's been really
mm,
helpful for me as well. I'm pretty sure it's
mm.
moved some of my tummy bulge. I've been able to, move things around. And that's part of the abhyanga. You can actually circle through your joints and circle around your tummy, tap through some of the places that you store some of that lymph, get it moving through your body and eliminating the things you don't need. Tongue scraping. Who knew I'd start doing that?
So good, isn't it? Yeah, there's a
Yes.
lot of things that I've added since working with our coach. But you resisted the abhyanga, and I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever, because I've really had dry skin. I've always had dry skin. I suffered with eczema. Every winter, my wrists would just my knuckles would just be inflamed and awful. And last 2 winters, nothing. I had a little bit come up this winter, but nothing like it used to be. But the thing that I struggled with was introducing ghee into my diet. So she was very patient with Audrie with her abhyanga and came up with lots of solutions, and was also very patient with me with my introduction of ghee, because ghee's like clarified butter, and when you take like a teaspoon or a tablespoon, it's like a teaspoon's 50 calories. So it's calorie dense. But again, the interesting thing is about if we're trying to calm and soothe the digestive system and the nervous system, the ghee was actually more for my nervous system, because I needed to de-stress and get myself back into a state of zen and calm. So the ghee was more hitting that layer of my body, which is one of the deepest layers. So that we have 7 layers to our tissues, and to get all the way to the majja layer or the nervous system layer is big work, because it has to go through all the other layers first. So ghee was added to my diet very reluctantly, but now it's I cook with it. I put it on my toast if I'm having toast. Like, it's just part of my daily life, and has definitely supported my health in terms of my gut. Yeah. And the interesting, so haven't lost weight, but my body has changed. And the interesting thing that I noticed was that I'm more obsessed now with how my poos are, like how my elimination is. Like,
Smiling bananas.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm like, we talk about in Ayurveda pooforia, right? Like the pooforia. And having been someone who had very irregular elimination and just never experienced a smiling banana in my life, like, like I feel like I have won every like, and never, like, we're meant to eliminate first thing in the morning. I wasn't one of those people, and multiple times during the day, that was me, and maybe once or twice is kind of normal. So there's all of these things that had been normal and I thought were okay and healthy, but weren't. So that, in terms of my journey, like, I fit my clothes way better. I haven't lost any weight, but my body shape has changed. Like, I have a flat stomach now because the digestive issues are not 100% fixed, because we take a slow time to fix. Like, if I've had digestive issues since I was born, like, I'm 48. Like, they say 1 month for every year. So that's 5 years of, like, until I'm just going to have a perfectly healed digestion. But it's slowly and surely every single day. And it's been incredible in terms of the change.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I suppose there's different ways that, we've just explained that we're different people. And, if this sounds like something that's interesting for you, well, we've got different ways of working with you. If you'd like to come on your own journey, we can certainly guide you. We've loved our journey with our wellness coach, and we loved it so much that Kristina was already doing it, but I've also started the course this year, halfway through. You're halfway through the second year. So, there's ways that you can join us, either one-on-one, or one of the things that we would suggest, it's a great Ayurveda thing, is to go on a cleanse for a week.
Yeah.
And this is often done between the hot summertime and beginning of winter, so the autumn cleanse. And of course, in New Zealand at the moment, we're coming through the end of winter and coming into spring. So in October, we're going to offer a guided cleanse. Now, here's me being hesitant about something new as well. I've never done a cleanse until this year and was really thinking, oh, I don't want to be hungry. I don't want to, just drink green juice or something terrible like that. How could I do it? But actually, if you're slightly interested in getting your digestive system going, a cleanse is a great way of doing it, especially an Ayurveda cleanse, because you are nourished, you are fed, you can eat, you can feel full, but it's just a narrow range of food.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, because I was a cleanse newbie, actually it's quite a inward looking reflective time. Maybe some people even call it a spiritual journey. You're actually reflecting on your life, which is a great thing to do in spring, because you've just been through the darkness of winter. We're just coming to flourish into a new year, a new summertime, and it's great to have a week where you reduce the number of things you watch and people you talk to. And I stopped wearing my Apple Watch, and as you see, I didn't ever put it back on again, but it was a reduction of the things that I was attending to in my life, as well as what I was eating. So we
Yeah.
are starting that again on the 16th of October. We'd love you to
Woo.
join us.
Yeah. It's a very powerful week. I think all the women that joined us in the first cleanse the autumn cleanse that we ran, are all coming back. And like you said, Audrey, not only did they have like women's symptoms, like physical symptoms, whether it's digestive issues or skin issues or whatever, even PCOS or painful periods, they cleared up and with the cleanse. But then also there was a lot of emotional release that happened too during that cleanse period. So it's a very powerful 7 days that we take you. Well, it's 10 days total in terms of us working with you, but 7 days of active cleansing. So it is an incredibly powerful process, and one that I think once you begin, it just becomes, this is who I am now. I do a cleanse twice a year to let go of the cold of winter or the heat of summer and prepare for that transition into the heat or the cold that's coming. And I think both you and I have been, one of the things that you mentioned, and I think I'm the same, is that I haven't really been sick since beginning this journey.
No,
Yeah.
I had one day when I was teaching uh, that I felt that I just didn't have enough voice to teach yoga. So I've had one day off, I think, in the past 18 months. So that's,
Mm.
a pretty good record, especially because we are out meeting and greeting and working with a whole lot of people in different settings, that we could easily pick up all sorts of things that are out and about. But no, it does keep us very well. So if you're looking
Mm.
for a solution to being unwell, come work with us as well.
Fabulous. So that's how we started our journey and how we've ended up becoming women's weight and wellness coaches, and how Audrey unintentionally ended up losing 8 kilos, I think it is. Wow. How cool is that? So it doesn't matter where you begin. This process has something for everybody. And as you can tell, it's completely unique. We're unique individuals, and we've had completely unique journeys with similarities, but a lot of our own uniqueness.
That's right.
Mm.
So
All right.
I'm sure that you can find us, but if you'd like to find us, don't forget to check us out online, yogatotransform.com. And please share this video, this podcast with your friends, and watch out for our next episode coming soon.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye now.
Namaste. Namaste. Bye.